So the intervals are always in brackets, right? And the brackets are consisting of X values. So both of these, instead of being coordinates, right? Because coordinates are like this. You guys know that? So this is a coordinate, this is an X, this is a Y, right? In brackets, this is an X and an X. Yes? This is X1, X2. So brackets consisting of X values. And how are they helpful using the formula for the average rate? They're helpful because it tells you, these tell you what X's to use. So I'm supposed to use the 0 and the 4. Okay. Do you guys know that if they give you 2 X's in the brackets, that you're automatically going to put 4 minus 0 at the bottom of your rate problem? Because watch, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. What's x2? 4. What's x1? 0. So do you see how I automatically put it at the bottom? Because they go at the bottom. What don't I know? The y. How do I find out the y? You can either look at the graph or the table, or you can plug in 0 into an equation to figure out the y, or you can plug in 4 into the equation to figure out the y. You could create an equation. Okay, so that's where I'm going with this. So yesterday, you were asked in the card sort activity, I'm gonna let you guys finish that today, but in the card sort activity, you guys were asked about intervals. So I'm gonna go back. So number 2, it says that you're supposed to take all of those 8 cards, right? And you're supposed to find the average rate of change on the interval 0, 4. And that was for every single card. And then you were supposed to order them based on the average rate of change. And then you're supposed to, the third question was like, evaluate when x equals -1. That means like you plug in -1 for x, figure out the y value, and then order them. Number 4, I don't want you doing because it's a bad question. If you're ever asking about maximum or minimum, that has to do with quadratics, and they're trying to relate that to linear functions, and I don't like it. So going back to number 2, the average rate of change. Look at the cards. Okay, so I'm going to quickly show you some examples. All right, if I wanted to find the average rate of change, remember all the intervals are going to be 0 and 4, right? Because that's what they gave us. So look at card B. If I was trying to find the average rate of change for card B, I would just look where? Yeah, I would look here and here. Why? Because this is where x is 0. And then what is the y? 8. Where x is 4, what is the y? 20. So 20 minus 8, 12 divided by 4 is what? 3. So I would write somewhere, like I would make a list and put A rock, put like number 2, and then put B equals 3, so that I could order my cards accurately, because you're not supposed to write on the cards. All right, what about this? So we were able to find the average rate of change for the graph because we just looked at the coordinates, right? What if you don't have a graph? So I can either put this in Desmos and look at the table, right? You guys understand that, right? Or to me, it's like, why am I gonna go and plug all that in? Because it's gonna take forever. So I can also plug in what? I can plug in 0 for X. And then what do I get? I get positive 3 because this cancels, and then so y equals, or a of x equals 3, right? So my coordinate would be 0, 3. And then how would I figure out 4? You just plug in the 4, right? So I can go plug in 4. So this is -8 plus 3, -5. So then my other coordinate would be 4, -5. And then I would use this to do what? Yeah, to do y2, y1, or the average rate of change, right? Same thing for this table right here. Let's look at the bottom half. Okay, this one I could plug into Desmos, right? What about this one? Everybody was confused with C because they're like, Miss Boland, there is a 0, -4, but there's no 4 value. Do you know how you could figure that out? You could come up with an equation, okay, which is simple. Look, what's the average rate of change right here? I have no idea, so I'm going to do x1, y1, x2, y2. I'm just writing an equation so I can figure this stuff out. So -4 minus 6, and then this one is 0 minus -4. I'm subtracting a negative, so I got to change that to a positive. This becomes what? That's a -6, by the way. So this becomes, this is not -10 because this is a -6, and that becomes a plus sign again. So -4 plus 6 is what? But it's 2, it's regular 2, sorry. And then 4. So it's 1/2. So watch. This is 1/2 x. What's the y value? Or the y, I'm sorry, what's the y-intercept? -4, right? So I have an equation now. Can I plug in the x's? So I can plug in the x. But watch, you don't even have to do that for this one because the linear equations have a constant rate of change. What am I even using this for? What was I using the interval for? To find the average rate of change, right? So if I already found the average rate of change, do I need to do it with 0 and 4? Or is it going to be the same because it's constant rate of change? It's going to be the same because it's a constant rate of change. So I don't even have to go through and plug it, each of them in. You guys got that? What doesn't have a constant rate? No. Exponentials have constant rates, but they're being multiplied. Linear has a constant rate, but they're being added or subtracted. Quadratics do not have constant rates. That's why we do the average rate of change. You guys get that? Okay, so going back to your questions from yesterday, I'm going to show you the questions I don't want you to work on. I don't want you to do number 4, and I don't want you to do the last one. All I want you to do, and I don't even want you to attempt it because the questions are bad, and it's going to make you, it will end up making you remember not what I want you to remember about quadratics. Quadratics have to do with max and min. The word max and min only go with quadratics. It doesn't need to go with any other function. So these two I don't want you to do. This one I do want you to do. Number 4 I don't want you to do. But number three is different than the average rate of change. Yeah, so watch. When you guys are doing this, watch. Number 3 is saying to plug in -1 for X, okay? For each of these. Okay, is there a -1 here? No, so then I had already created the equation before, right? Oh, this was -4, my bad. Okay, so where am I putting -1? So 1/2 -1 minus 4. And then -1 times 1/2 is -1/2, right? Minus 4. So that would be, so for C, f of -1 would be -4.5. What about, look at F. F, why don't you need it? You don't have to have an equation for F, but why? You already have the -1 value. What's the -1 value? 5/2. You guys got that? So 5/2, which is 2.5. What about here? G. Yeah, I will plug in -1 for the exponent. That could get rough if you don't have like the skills to put it in Desmos scientific calculator. So I'm going to show you the scientific calculator real quick. You got to keep in mind it's a -1. All right, watch. That was 2 and then 3, right? And then what was the exponent? Huh? -1 and then -2. Do you see how that gives you a weird answer? So -1.3. But you have to know how to put it in Desmos. That is the proper way to put it in there, yes. Do you have any questions about the questions for the card sort? To what? How would that be 1.3? It would be 1.3 because that when the exponent is negative, remember it turns into a fraction, a small number.
So when slide 0.something, -1 something, it's a fact. I thought it was like always 0.5.